One man wanted to build better shoes, so he partnered with a young entrepreneur. But that decision would later create the biggest sports brand in the world. The story begins in post-war Japan, a nation rebuilding itself from ruins, searching for purpose, identity, and strength. Among the many trying to redefine the future was a man with no experience, no capital, and what many believed was a completely unrealistic dream. His name was Kihachiro Onizuka. At the time, he was not a businessman, not an expert in footwear, and certainly not someone investors would bet on. He was simply a former soldier who believed that the key to rebuilding a nation wasn't politics or economics but people. More specifically, healthy, disciplined, active people. He believed sport could heal a generation. And to make that happen, he needed to start with something simple: better shoes. The problem was, he had no idea how to make them. After leaving his corporate job, frustrated with rigid management and limited purpose, Onizuka decided to take a risk. With no formal training, he set out to design athletic shoes. His first focus was basketball, a sport gaining popularity among Japanese youth. But when he presented his early prototypes to a local high school team, the response was disappointing. The shoes lacked grip. They simply weren't good enough. For weeks, he struggled to find a solution. Then one day, while eating an octopus salad prepared by his mother, inspiration struck. He noticed the suction cups on the octopus tentacles, perfectly designed for grip. That moment changed everything. He translated that natural design into a rubber sole pattern, creating shoes that could grip the court like never before. It was unconventional. It was strange. But it worked. In 1949, he founded his company Onizuka Tiger. The early days were brutal. With no money for proper accommodation, Onizuka often slept in train stations while traveling across Japan, trying to sell his shoes. He visited schools, gyms, and sports clubs, pitching his vision again and again. Slowly, something began to change. Teams using his shoes started winning. Word spread. Coaches noticed the improved performance. And for the first time, people began to take him seriously. Then came a breakthrough, one that would redefine the future of the company. Kihachiro Onizuka shifted his focus toward long-distance running, a sport where athletes constantly battled blisters, heat, and fatigue. Instead of ignoring these problems, he studied them. He listened to runners, observed their movements, and searched for a solution that others had overlooked. Drawing inspiration from traditional Japanese split-toe socks, he designed a shoe that was breathable, flexible, and capable of reducing friction. It was a simple idea, but it worked. The true turning point came in 1951. When Shigeki Tanaka crossed the finish line at the Boston Marathon wearing Onizuka shoes, he didn't just win a race, he introduced the brand to the world. Suddenly, this small Japanese company was no longer invisible. It had proven itself on one of the biggest stages in sport. Success brought attention. And attention brought opportunity. In 1962, a young American entrepreneur named Phil Knight approached Onizuka with an ambitious idea. He believed Japanese running shoes could compete in the American market, which at the time was dominated by Adidas. Knight proposed becoming the distributor of Onizuka shoes in the United States. Onizuka agreed. Knight returned home and founded a small company called Blue Ribbon Sports. At first, the partnership flourished. Sales grew steadily, and runners across America began to recognize the quality and performance of the shoes. It seemed like a perfect collaboration, Japanese craftsmanship meeting American ambition. But beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to form. Shipments arrived late. Communication became inconsistent. Frustration built on both sides. Knight started to suspect that Onizuka was prioritizing other markets, leaving his company with unreliable supply. Trust, once strong, began to weaken. Faced with uncertainty, Knight made a bold decision. While still working with Onizuka, he and his partner Bill Bowerman began experimenting with their own designs. Like Onizuka, Bowerman found inspiration in everyday life, this time, a waffle iron. The pattern created a new type of sole that was lightweight, grippy, and highly effective for running. It was a quiet rebellion, but a powerful one. By the early 1970s, Blue Ribbon Sports transformed into something entirely new: Nike. What had once been a partnership built on trust and opportunity had now become one of the most significant rivalries in business history. In 1972, The partnership that once connected two rising forces in the athletic world finally came to an end. Nike stepped forward independently, moving with speed, bold marketing, and a growing appetite for global dominance. With its aggressive branding, celebrity endorsements, and constant innovation, Nike quickly began to take control of the international sportswear market. It was fast, loud, and impossible to ignore. But while many expected Onitsuka's company to fade into the background, that never happened. Instead of collapsing under pressure, the company chose to evolve. In 1977, it merged with two other firms and reintroduced itself to the world as ASICS. The name was more than just a rebrand. It carried a philosophy. Derived from the Latin phrase anima sana in corpore sano, meaning a sound mind in a sound body, it reflected a deeper mission. This wasn't just about selling shoes anymore. It was about improving lives through movement, health, and discipline. While Nike pushed toward mass appeal, ASICS deliberately chose a different road. Instead of focusing on flashy advertisements and cultural dominance, ASICS turned inward toward research, precision, and performance. The company believed that true success wouldn't come from hype, but from building products that genuinely helped athletes perform better. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, ASICS invested heavily in technology. It developed lighter materials, improved shoe structures, and introduced advanced ventilation systems that helped regulate temperature during intense activity. But its most significant breakthrough came with the introduction of GEL cushioning, a silicone-based system embedded in the midsole of the shoe. This innovation changed everything. The GEL technology was designed to absorb shock and reduce the impact on joints, especially during high-performance sports like running and basketball. It provided comfort without sacrificing performance, making ASICS shoes a favorite among athletes who valued function over fashion. Then, in 1990, ASICS took its commitment to innovation even further. The company opened its Institute of Sports Science in Kobe, Japan, a state-of-the-art research facility dedicated entirely to understanding human movement and improving athletic performance. Equipped with laboratories, testing tracks, and advanced analytical tools, the institute became the heart of ASICS' innovation strategy. It was unlike anything else in the industry at the time. While competitors focused on branding, ASICS focused on science. This dedication paid off. Over time, ASICS built a reputation not as the loudest brand, but as one of the most trusted. Professional athletes, marathon runners, and serious fitness enthusiasts turned to ASICS because they knew what they were getting: precision, reliability, and performance. Today, ASICS operates in over 100 countries, with thousands of retail locations across the globe. It generates billions in annual revenue and continues to push forward with new innovations in sportswear and athletic technology. Meanwhile, Nike, the company it once partnered with, has grown into the largest athletic brand in the world, dominating markets and redefining global sports culture. But what makes this story truly remarkable isn't who became bigger. It's how ASICS survived and thrived. It didn't try to outmarket Nike. It didn't try to imitate its strategy. Instead, it carved out its own identity, one rooted in discipline, purpose, and performance. It proved that there is more than one way to succeed, and that staying true to your values can be just as powerful as chasing popularity. At the center of it all was Kihachiro Onitsuka. He began with nothing: no experience, no capital, and an idea that many considered unrealistic. Yet through persistence, creativity, and an unshakable belief in his mission, he built one of Japan's most respected brands. And in doing so, he unknowingly helped create his greatest rival. Because sometimes, the competition that pushes you the hardest is the one you inspire yourself. If you love stories of hustle, innovation, and game-changing ideas, hit subscribe and join us.